What's up YouTube, welcome back to another video on this channel, and today we have the latest KTM RC 200. Again, good to be back with the reviews. So theoretically 4th day with the motorcycle, 3 days inside city, and today I'm out on the highway. So yes, the latest spanking looking KTM RC 200, which has actually changed a lot from the previous generation. So yes, let's see what all has changed and what is the right feel and all. I know that I'm a bit late with the review, so I'm not going to walk you through all the changes that you see with this motorcycle with the previous one. Basically, I'll give you an idea what all has improved and what is the current situation of the bike. Is it rideable, or is it tough to ride, or is it a beginner friendly motorcycle now? So let's get into each and everything in detail. So first of all, the styling, the motorcycle has changed a lot, especially the front section. I think KTM is trying to make a unified model of the front section, because this reminds me of the 1290 GT and all. They are going towards that area, because this kind of a huge wind visor, that too not sharp edges, like round edges and all. And coming on to this side, we have the new fairing. Basically, I like the old fairing as well, but the new fairing has started growing on me. I started liking it. Only thing is, like, it feels a little bit of naked over here. They could have done an undercover or something to cover that entire area, so it looks streamlined. And here you have the new tank. This new tank is actually 4 liters more than the previous version. So this portion is metallic and this portion is plastic. It looks like a KTM MotoGP vehicle. And coming onto this section, we have the new seat, more padded seat for the rider as well as the pillion. And we have a better grab rail here. A previous version of RC never used to get that. So altogether, I'll say that I started liking the design. It looks neat, it's different. We were mostly seeing the sharp edged KTM RC 390 and the KTM RC 200 before. Now it has gone round and all. There is no sharp edges. This is more like a more aerodynamic design. KTM has tried making this motorcycle more aerodynamic because they wanted the KTM RC to go faster. That's the whole point. You have a race motorcycle, you want it to go faster. And one another thing which I noticed with the motorcycle is that these levers, the brake lever and the clutch lever, are actually adjustable. You see that? On the other side as well, it's adjustable. That's a nice thing, because when you fall down and all, those are the things which can be broken easily. So that's a well thought design. So let's hop onto the rider seat. Before that, let's talk about the rider seat. So this seat is really nice, way comfortable than the previous seat. And one thing is, like, here you have a tapered edge here, so you can sit over here and have a comfortable riding posture. Mostly, I don't say it's an upright riding posture, but it's more comfortable. It's unlike the previous RC, and the seating comfort is really nice. The cushioning as well, you can really have a longer time on the saddle. And coming onto the pillion seat, you have the same amount of padding over here. I took a small ride on this motorcycle as a pillion. The thing is, like, the grab rail and everything looks nice. The seat is also improved. The thing is, maybe I'm a little scared to sit as a pillion. The seat feels a little shorter, but still a better seat compared to the previous version. So hopping onto the motorcycle, what you feel is a much relaxed motorcycle. One thing is, like, when you hop on the motorcycle, you see that the rear suspension actually jumps a lot. That's what you see. I hope nobody is watching me. From a distance it will feel a bit awkward. So what I was talking about is, like, even though the seat height is a little taller, when you sit on the motorcycle, the suspension actually sits along with you. And I have a comfortable planted foot, almost planted foot on both sides. And I'm sitting very near to the tank now, so the reach towards the handlebar is not that aggressive. If you sit a little backward, yes, you have an aggressive riding stance. The footpeg is rear set. I like it. It's an RC, you need to be slightly rear set, but it's equally comfortable. It's not too rear set, no pressure on the knees, very nice. And even you can see short riders or tall riders won't be having any problem in keeping the knee over here. And the aerodynamics is actually very better. You see that if the air is coming like this, the air won't be going like this, so it goes like that. So that's what I said. This is more aerodynamical than the previous version. Basically, the clip-on is 10 mm higher. Basically, the suspension setup itself is 10 mm longer. So what you see on the handlebar is the high beam and the low beam switch, the pass switch, the indicator, the ignition. The key is actually a little towards the left side. It's breaking my OCD. I would like to see it on the middle itself, but okay, manageable for now. And on this side, we have the kill switch and the ignition. That's all. And turning on the dash, you have quite a lot of information. This is the same display that you have seen in the Adventure 250. This has a lot of information. I'm pretty much satisfied with it, and it might look a little dull now, but this screen will look better in night. So what you see is the time, the tachometer, the speedometer, the gear position indicator, the odometer, and here you'll see the ABS switch. And if you keep pressing this set button, it goes to the trip 1, trip 2, and when you are in ABS, you keep pressing the set button again. It says off-road mode now. Keep pressing it, it comes to the road mode, so the ABS can be disabled. Quite a nice and flashy dial, and this angle actually looks really nice. You know, I really love this kind of a paint scheme where you feel like you are riding a proper MotoGP KTM vehicle. And the reach towards the handlebar is like this, not too aggressive. So this windscreen actually gives an altogether different feel. I really don't say that it makes a day and night difference between the previous version of RC, but if you are sitting a little backwards and tucked down, yes, that's the correct racing stance, and you'll get a lot of wind protection. And coming on to the mirrors, actually the mirrors are really functional. I really loved it. It's almost like a flat screen TV. You can see a lot of stuff, and the mirrors are actually foldable. I don't really suggest if you're riding it on the street. You can fold it if you're riding it on the track, but for your own safety purpose I'm telling this. So let's hit the road. Before that, let's hear the exhaust sound. By the way, it's quite mellow. Even though it's an underbelly exhaust, it's quite mellow. It's not too hard. So let's hit the road. Okay, back on the highway, and we have an open road here, so let's pull it hard. Yes, that's basically the top speed that I could do on the KTM RC 200. So basically the engine has changed. As per KTM, the airflow to the engine has been 40% increased. It comes with a new airbox, so that is actually evident. I have to say that I'm pretty happy riding this motorcycle from an engine point of view, because all the other BS6 vehicles which I rode has some dip in the power and torque. Even though they say that the power and torque figures are all same with the previous version, nobody was doing justice to it. But on this motorcycle, I seriously feel this has that energy of the KTM. I'm talking about the BS3 and the BS4 models. It's not that aggressive, but still it has that punch. And what I feel is that this has a shorter gear ratio. You tend to shift pretty quickly, you reaches the red line pretty easily, and it is doing a 0 to 100 in pretty quick manner, and it goes to 120 as well easily, and after that it climbs. And what I'd done top is something like 135 km. That's all. That's not a great top speed considering that this is a 200cc motorcycle, but still the 0 to 100 and 120 is quite quick. The engine is like very energetic and it is ready to move. And coming on to the other things, actually you can see that this is a proper racing motorcycle. The racing stance, you have to be in that sports riding posture. Don't put too much of pressure onto your arms and all. That'll give you a lot of pain on the wrist or on the shoulders and all. Try to make your hands as relaxed as possible while we are riding this motorcycle. And coming on to the other things, let's talk about the brakes. Actually I really love the brakes. The front brake bite is really good. This motorcycle has a different disc from the previous version, and really it works well. I'm really satisfied with the front braking. And to talk about the suspension, I have a really mixed feeling about the suspension, because the front suspension is a little hard, which I really like it when the motorcycle goes to the corners, and it is not that hard to use it inside city. But when it comes to the rear suspension, as I mentioned previously, the suspension has a lot of jump, so it's a slightly wavy suspension. Combinedly it is good for cornering and good for city use, but not the best if you are ridden the previous version of KTM RC 390s. And coming on to the tires and all, I feel the tires are good, no problem. I mean, these are budget oriented tires. If you wanted to go for performance oriented, go for Pirelli or Mercedes. That's my personal feel, because whenever I brake really hard, I can see that the ABS is kicking in a little early than my liking. So if you change the tires, the braking will be awesome, the cornering stability will be nice. And yes, this motorcycle has lost some unsprung weight. This motorcycle comes with new alloys, so that is not a day and night difference between the previous RC 200. Cornering is much easy. I really love it. this is more beginner friendly, that's what I'll say. Actually this motorcycle forgives you a lot, which KTM generally doesn't do. And to talk about the other aspects when it comes to city riding, what I'll say about the headlight is that the throw of the headlight is good, it is wide, it is neat, but I'd like to see a little bit more intensity from the LEDs, because when you are alone the road is visible, everything is good, the low beam is good, the high beam is good, but when there are too much of traffic, then probably you'll be blinded with the oncoming traffic lights. And to talk about the heating is actually managed well. This again gets a new radiator, and the heat is not actually pushed towards the rider. So I managed to heat the motorcycle riding it for around 20-25 minutes in dead traffic, and it's not bad at all. I mean, heating is not at all affecting the rider in a bad way. It is not coming to the thighs, and also it touches the knee. I think it comes through this area, and the heat waves actually touches the knee and it goes out, that's all. And once it's rolling, no problem. The heat level indicator always shows 50%. It hasn't gone above even after riding in very bad traffic, so that's a really nice job. And there wasn't any ground clearance issues and all. And you know, it's raining nowadays, so there are a lot of bad roads, lot of big potholes, and even after jumping into the potholes, I never had any bottom outing of the front suspension. That's a main problem when it comes to sports motorcycles. So the suspension has actually gained a 10 mm travel, so the suspension never bottom outed for me after riding it through bad patches, even in high speed. Only thing is, like, the front suspension will feel a little harder and you can feel it on the handlebar, but the rear suspension will save your balls. So if I have to talk about the gearbox and the clutch, I'll say that the gearbox is absolutely brilliant. No false neutrals, it is very crisp and it is very light to shift as well. And when it comes to the clutch feel is also nice. One of the lightest clutch. You don't feel any pressure in using this clutch even for your city rides. Now coming on to the ownership, this motorcycle now actually comes on road for 2,66,000, which is priced same as the previous version, and I'll say that this is quite a value for money if you're looking for a race motorcycle. Definitely this is an entry level motorcycle, so definitely a value for money for that price. And coming on to the other ownership aspects, the first service is obviously done in 1,000 kilometers, and from then on 7,500 kilometers, and the service cost is something like 2,000 to 2,500 rupees, which is decent as per KTM standards. And actually there is no mileage expectations from the company as such, but what I'll say is that you might be getting something like 25 to 30 inside city, or max you'll get something like 30 to 33 on highways and all, which is like a pretty decent for the performance this gave. So let's come to the verdict. Should you buy this motorcycle? So in my opinion, if you are upgrading from a scooter or from a 150cc motorcycle and get into a sports motorcycle which is aggressive, you need to keep in mind that this RC also is aggressive. Even though this has a revised ergonomics and all, still this is an aggressive motorcycle. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Still, this is an aggressive motorcycle. So you can upgrade from a 150cc motorcycle or a scooter if you're looking for a very sporty and an energetic motorcycle. And if you're looking for a city motorcycle, I'll say that this is not going to be the most comfortable motorcycle because the riding posture is different. You will start putting pressure onto the handlebar, so that's the problem. You'll get a lot of pain on your wrist and on your shoulders. Better you can look for the Duke series than the RC. And yes, of course, off-roading is not a cup of coffee on this motorcycle. And coming on to the touring, actually I thought that I'll do a different touring review because I have to talk a lot about this motorcycle when it comes to touring. But it's manageable if you want to tour at a speed of 80 to 90 with all those pain of sports motorcycle, then I'll say that this is good, no problem. So from my perspective, I'll say that honestly I started loving this motorcycle for the new looks, for the engine, for the kind of sportiness this motorcycle is giving. Only one thing is that this has shorter gearing, so I'm actually shifting to the taller gears pretty quickly. You can see that I'm riding in the 6th gear even in 50 speed and all. So comparing to other motorcycles, I'm running on a taller gear, so that actually sometimes put me on to the rev limiter of the lower gear if I'm downshifting. So otherwise I didn't had any problem. So if you ask me if I see any negatives with the motorcycle, one thing what I'll say is that there is minor vibration issue if you go past 95 or 100 km/h, there is a minor vibration on the handlebar, on the seat and the foot peg. You'll start feeling the vibration on the handlebar first and on the foot peg, and later you'll start feeling it on the seat when it goes to 130 and all. And no other major cons I see with this motorcycle. Only one thing is, like, there are some plastics on this motorcycle, like the edges of plastic, which feels little flimsy. Otherwise, no issues. Totally happy with the way this motorcycle is. So that's my review on the latest KTM RC 200, and I hope you like this video. And as always, show some love in the form of likes and comments. See you in the next video. Until then, bye bye.